Alright, we're gonna call to order the Water and Sewer Commission meeting.
Right.
Karen?
In your packet is Alice Holloway Drive Pump Station Upgrade Estimate. This was received from Simon Services Operations. This is part of the Alice Holloway Housing Development. So what I neglected to put in here was the memorandum and understanding that Wyndham Windsor Housing Trust is paying half of the costs, and then the town is doing the other half. And to be clear, it's 2 new grinding pumps, a whole complete computer switchboard that goes into the well. It's a dry well. Yeah, and there's some other things, but those are the 2 biggest components. And the pumps are gonna be a bigger pump to be able to handle the volume. And not only to handle what's being built now, but in the future, if there's any more housing development in that area, that pump station will be able to handle that. So this is the first step. And this is the biggest piece right here, and the time to get these delivered is gonna be like 8 to 12 weeks.
Okay.
So we get them ordered now, by March or April, we could have a upgraded Alice Holloway pump station.
So this is just for the pumps, there's still other work that goes, the
Yeah.
electrical work.
Yeah, so the electrical work, I have an estimate for that, and that's like $6,500. And then it'll be Simon's operations, cause they're gonna be doing the work. And I suspect that our highway department will also be down there, for any site work, digging.
So are all of these costs split between the town and Wyndham and Windsor, or just the pump, the motor and the pump? Here.
No, the complete upgrade.
The complete upgrade.
And, you know, it's estimated, if this is 21,000, I'm gonna estimate. I believe the memo, which I meant to put in this packet, is like, up to $40,000 is approximately. But of course, it's changed because the project was delayed,
Right.
but,
So this was a memorandum of understanding when they first got the permit.
that is correct.
So yeah, things have changed
Yeah.
since then. We might want to revisit that when they start occupying. But if they're amenable to it, just to make sure that everything is current in this century and that kind of thing.
For the upgrades or
No,
the
just in
memorandum
general.
of
Yeah,
understanding?
yeah.
So this is for the upgrade only,
Yeah.
but we will be maintaining it. They're not, you know,
Right,
and there's
sure.
no cost to them to maintain it. That's back on the town.
Is there anything else in the memorandum besides upgrades?
No, it's just,
It's
yeah,
just
yeah,
specific
it's
to
just
this.
for the,
Okay.
yeah, pump station.
So
that's it.
we always knew this was gonna happen.
Right,
Got ya?
right.
Okay.
Yep.
I got it. So you need us to approve this?
I would like your blessing to move ahead and get these pumps ordered.
Okay, well, I make a motion to approve the, what are we doing? Upgrade of the Alice Holway pump station in the amount of $21,724.57.
For the pumps only, right? Or
So
to
for
purchase
The
the pumps.
upgrade, for the entire upgrade.
Yeah, so this is for the pumps
Right, but
and
this
your
number is
board.
not the entire upgrade,
No,
right?
no, we have the electrical.
Right.
And then we're gonna have Simon's operations, their fee
All right,
to
so-
do the work.
But what you want now is the pump,
It's
you
just
wanna
the
buy the
pumps.
pumps,
Yeah, I want everything on this right here.
Okay, so the-
$21,000.
for just the pumps, or
Yeah, what's on here.
materials.
Yep,
Material.
yep.
Alright, then I make a motion to approve the upgrade of the pumps for the Alice Holway pump station in the amount of $21,724 $1,056.57.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye. Thank you.
Alright, so we're gonna close out of that and open our regular select board meeting. So, any adjustments to the agenda?
I have none.
None? Okay. Select board announcements.
I have some things that Karen gave me, so I will show them to the camera. Upcoming January, events in January from VLCT. January 7th is today, right? So that one's already happened. The 13th is Governing All with Skill. That's a Zoom meeting. I signed up for that. That sounded really useful. January 15th is Attorney Office Hours. That sounds fun too. January 26th is the Advocacy Chat. That's always actually very good. That's a good thing for us to attend because it's about legislative updates and what we can push for. Mm-hmm. The 29th of January is Workplace Matters Performance Improvement Plans That Work. VLCT Municipal Legislative Priorities, they come up with these every single year. A lot of them are the same, but the high level stuff is lower property taxes, build housing, promote public safety, and prioritize transportation. And there's a longer list if you want to go to their website. They've got all the specific bullet points about what they're going to be pushing on in Montpelier this year. And I think that was all you gave me, right? Oh, there's also the Our Future Putney celebration. I think hopefully some people have seen that on Facebook or wherever you get your social media. It's on January 29th, which is
It's a Thursday.
It's a Thursday. 6 to 8 at the Putney Central School. It's a come celebrate vision and join the energy. I think it's kind of like a get together from our previous get together in 2022.
Yeah, reconvening.
Reconvening, they call it. And there's, hopefully these are up around town. There's a QR code and some other information, useful information on here.
They're all over in different locations in town.
Good. Oh wait, there's more. Save the date, you're invited. Join the Putney Selectboard, that's us, at a public information session and learn all about the articles and budgets to be voted upon at town meeting. And that is on Saturday, February 28th, starting at 10 to 12 at the Putney Fire Station. And it will be in person and then on Zoom and live streamed by BCTV.
And hosted by our town moderator.
And okay, it doesn't say that, but sure. Sounds good. Oh, it does say that in very small print. That is really it, I think.
Okay. Any public comment on items not on the agenda? Jeanette?
Yes, thank you. Stand up here, we do have this to give to you. I lost the agenda. Thank you. So, thank you.
If you could just state your name, Jeanette.
Oh, yes, Jeanette White. I live on Old Depot Road here in Putney, and I am a resident. During the first Trump administration, the Vermont legislature became worried about protecting the privacy of our citizens. There were several attempts made by the federal government to collect personal data on our residents, including our voter checklist. In response, our current Secretary of State, who was then chair of House Government Operations Committee, and myself as chair of Senate GovOps, created a bill to protect the privacy of Vermonters. Among other things, it specifically prohibited Vermont from sending our voter checklist to the federal government or to any entity representing the federal government. It passed both chambers unanimously. As I'm sure you know, part of the checklist is publicly available, but the complete list, including phone numbers, parts of social security numbers, driver's license numbers, etc., is private. This is the part that must be protected. Now the federal government is suing Vermont and naming the Secretary of State, Sarah Copeland Hanses, for refusing to turn over that complete list. Her position is supported by Vermont law and by Governor Scott. I am hoping that the Putney Selectboard will do two things. Vote to adopt a resolution in support of Vermont's position and put it on the article for the town meeting warning. I realize you cannot make a decision tonight about your action since it did not get on the agenda. Just as an aside, I did send you all an email asking that this be put on the agenda, but probably because of the busy holidays, I received no response. But I am hoping that you will put it on the warning when you address that under your last agenda item. And a sample resolution is on the back. And I will bring that up under the, but I am encouraging Putney. This is our voter checklist. This has nothing to do with foreign countries or anything else. This is essential to protecting our voter checklist. So I'm hoping that you will perhaps put it on your agenda for the next meeting and act as a select board. And I will wait and ask you to put it on when you review the warning later on. Thank you.
I just, as an aside, I don't believe I got an email from you. What email address did you use?
I sent it to whatever is on the town website.
Okay, because I check my email regularly.
Okay,
so
well,
I
I
don't remember it, but it's not, I mean,
Yeah,
things do get lost, but.
There is, if you go on the town website,
Yeah.
there's a list of select
Yeah.
board members with email addresses, and that's where I sent it.
Yeah,
That's good.
it was there, cause I read it today and sent you an email and said, oh, I'm just seeing this today. Look
Huh,
for it.
I don't believe I saw it.
Huh,
Okay.
okay.
That doesn't mean that it didn't get there, I just don't, I usually respond to emails that ask me to respond.
Alright,
Thank you.
any other public comment? No? Okay. Moving on, approve the minutes of November 12th, December 10th, and special meeting on December 17th.
So November 12th
Wow.
got missed, because we were having so many meetings, and Rachel noticed that, so.
Okay.
Sorry
Were
for
we
the
all-
delay.
Add all of those meetings?
Well, let's take them one at a time. I move to approve the minutes of November 12, 2025 as drafted.
I second. Well, that was a while ago, but I don't see any clarity.
Okay,
Yes,
all in
yes.
favor?
Aye.
I move to approve the minutes of December 10, 2025 as drafted.
Second.
These were a while ago too.
Not as a while ago. But you're right. It was last year.
Mm-hmm.
Looks good to me.
Looks good.
Okay, all in favor?
Hi.
Aye.
I move to approve the minutes of December 17, 2025 as drafted.
Second,
Second.
thank you.
Good too?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Alright. Moving on. Warrants to the treasurer. Your motion?
So you have two sets here. You have December 26th.
I make a motion to approve and execute the warrants of December 26, 2025, upon completion of review.
Your second?
Second.
So payroll warrant dated December 26th, 2025. We did not have a meeting that evening, so we're doing them now. In the amount of $21,935.78. And just so the public knows that there was a vote, I can't remember when it was done, by the select board. If we fell on a meeting night where warrants and payroll needed to be sent out, the treasurer could do that. But for full transparency, these are in front of the board tonight.
Wait, which one are we doing?
The 26,
26.
12/26.
should have been the first
The
one.
payroll.
Payroll.
Okay,
And that amount was $21,935.78.
got it, yeah,
Okay?
thanks.
There was nothing unusual about payroll. Accounts payable, December 13 through December 26, 2025, in the amount of, hang on folks, $58,474.39. Also, when our office knows that we're gonna just not have a meeting, we try not to put a lot of payables on a warrant. We kind of hold off a little bit. But we definitely need
The
to do.
report, sorry, the report is 63,990.
Yeah, I think you gave the number for the January 9 warrant. You're still on December 26.
Oh, yeah, why is that? Hang on a minute, folks. Hold on, my mistake. Yeah, they were back to back. I apologize. I'm backing up a step.
Okay.
So, accounts payable. No, this is still not right. Why is this not?
Do you want mine?
December 13 through December
13th through-
26,
yes.
2025,
There
$63,919.24. I stand corrected.
Now we're looking at the same thing, that's the
Thank
important
you.
part.
Thank you for yeah, I don't have enough room to spread out over here, folks.
We have to,
This does
we have
not
to work
work
on
for
this.
me. This does not work for me.
Anything of note in this warrant?
No, nothing. Just payables that needed to be paid before the 30-day,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't look like everything.
Good
Giant
with them?
bonus in there.
Yep.
Yeah, that's it.
All in favor?
I
Aye.
make a motion to approve and execute the warrants dated January 9th, 2026.
All right, let's see if I can get this one right. That was Eileen. Who's
Give
second?
a second.
Second.
Thank you. All right, payroll warrant dated January 9th, 2026. In the amount of $21,580.81. It's not bad considering we had some overtime with the highway department and some double time that fell on a holiday. So,
Alrighty.
Accounts payable dated December 27th through January 9th, 2026. Bet you I'm gonna get this number right. $58,474.39.
What we got?
So, two nice small warrants right in a row is I like that. I like it a lot.
What's the dam control for Crafts Carpentry?
That is because we pay them for flow. The meter's on their building, so we end up paying them. So it's some arrangement we have, but that may change. It's something to do with that pipe that flows into the mill. So it's a metered flow that goes through his building somehow.
That's odd.
Yeah.
I don't know, I can't explain it. It's been
The
there
control
all.
valves there,
What was that?
the control valves in there
Mm-hmm.
for the dam, but
Right.
will we pay them for it? How often do we pay them? Or is that a 1 year?
I don't think I've ever seen that before.
No, I think it's once a year. It's I'll find the paperwork on it.
It's not a lot of money, but it's odd.
Well, there's a lot of odd things in Putney.
It doesn't mean we shouldn't get to the bottom of it.
Of course.
That can't be explained unless you dig into the vault and hope you'll come up with the information.
All good?
Yep. I'm good.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you for getting through that, folks.
Town managers report.
I have a small one, I just didn't have time. So the generators are up and running for the wastewater treatment plant and Sand Hill well house. They're connected, there's gas to them, so. We've requested one reimbursement and the second one has been requested as well.
For the grant.
So, yeah, it's $140,000, so. So we're waiting on the second payment, reimbursement. And I'll let you know when that comes in. We did receive requests for proposals. We have 2 assessor services proposals. One of those we'll be talking about tonight, it's on the agenda. 2 legal services and 2 audit services. I haven't had time to do a comparison, so in the next meeting, I will bring legal and audit services to you folks. And I did adjust the general fund budget to reflect a different number for fiscal year 27, based on what we received.
Okay.
Okay? Draft personnel policy is almost complete after 5 years. The town has reviewed and we have some comments for the attorneys, so hopefully this week we'll get those back to him. I kind of wanted that new personnel policy in effect at January 1st, but maybe February 1st. That's my goal. We have a multi-sector general permit reapplication process and it's due January 15th, 2026, for the Route 5 gravel pit. So the permit covers stormwater discharge from industrial facilities, a notice of intent, and a new format for the stormwater pollution prevention plan has to all be uploaded on the state website. And I'll be working with Lee Chamberlain. I'm hopeful, I have a call into the state, if I can upload our current plan without using their new form, because it's gonna be a bear to try to convert it.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna do the best I can. Maybe I can get an extension. But I'll keep you posted on that. The common level of appraisal came in, I don't know if you've seen it. I'll make sure it's distributed at the next meeting, but, so our CLA, common level of appraisal, dropped from 99.57 to 94.33% in a year. Which means market prices are still skewed
Still going up, yeah,
for the town of Putney.
yeah.
Even after that major reappraisal, which I believe we were over 100.
We were over 100 the first year.
Yeah. And then last year it was 99.57 and now we're at 94.33. So folks, you have to get to a certain percent, then you have to do another appraisal.
Well, actually, that's not true anymore.
Not anymore?
Yeah, so it's not based off of CLA anymore. It's based off of the COD, the common, coefficient of dispersion. Which is a measure of equity as opposed to market value. But also the state has instituted a 6-year cycle. So regardless of whether we are up and whether our CLA or our CODs are in line, we'll be doing it again in 4 years, whenever we
So we did it in 2023.
23, so 2029
Right.
will be another reappraisal.
Yeah.
And the state's still working out how that's gonna work. They're still working on whether we have regional assessment districts and what those will look like, and whether we'll be contracting through multi-towns to do reappraisals, larger areas for reappraisals or whatnot, but the 6-year thing is definitely in place, so.
Which is gonna be costly for some small towns. I mean, we
That's part of the
paid
state's-
$112,000 for that last
That's part of the
reappraisal.
state's dilemma, yes.
Well, it's not, it's the town.
No, but it's the state's issue, so the state's working on how
Right.
that's gonna work in the future, but, IAAO, guidelines, are between 5 and 8 years, I think, is their range. Any time you go further than that, you get into these major, spikes of property valuations going, way up, like they did. And so you get a lot of sticker shock, you get a lot of properties that are not equitable in the meantime, and it's just not a good way. It's not a good way to run the system. You're always gonna run into that. So the 6-year cycle should even that out a lot more.
Yeah, I mean, the town clerk's office is still seeing, property transfers for, a piece of property being assessed at this value, but it's being bought at this value. So it's still happening here, which is it's a concern. I'm not a lister, but this is a concern. You
Well,
know?
we should also consider, I hate to say it, but yet another reserve fund to even out the cost of these appraisals.
Well, we
Well, the
do,
state-
we have a reappraisal fund already. The
Yeah.
state history has been 10,000, but it's been a little bit less each year. I don't know what it's based on.
It's
I don't
based
know.
on per parcel. It's based on per parcel.
Yeah,
And whenever parcel in the state, and we're getting into the weeds of reappraisal, but whenever properties are bought that are in the same name, we're required to combine them,
right.
and the
right.
state
Yep.
considers that one parcel. So that's actually one of the asks that the stakeholder group asked to stop doing that, to pay us for all the parcels in
Right.
town, because you have to reassess all the parcels whether or not the state's paying you for them. So that's one way to get extra money, but they are also looking at the per parcel price
Mhm.
to up that, because they are aware that, this is costly for towns.
Okay.
So it is in the works.
Yeah. Do I have anything else? Sorry, I'm just kind of like,
That was it. Sorry
on
to
that
take
note, on that note, that's all I have.
over.
Any public comment on the town manager's report? Okay, moving on. Boards, committees, and commissions. Conservation Committee, Putney Mountain discussion, Tom Hinkley.
Oh dear. That's me, right? Do I need to stand up and?
Just go to the podium if you want.
You can use the podium.
No, that's all right, I'll stay right here. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for having us. I'm Tom Hinkley. I am the Vice Chair of the Putney Conservation Commission, and I am long-term resident of Putney. And I'm here, I handed out some documents for you guys to glance at. But I'm here to get a conversation moving. But the Putney Conservation Commission's ultimate goal with the Putney Town Forest is to transfer that property to the Putney Mountain Association. This is not the first time that this has been tried. The 2020 town meeting, a non-binding resolution was voted on by the town to actually do that. So the town has given approval unofficially for this to happen, and we'd like to keep it moving forward. And that's what we're doing here. So tonight, that's what I want to do, is get that moving forward. So I put together, I should say, because there are conservation members here, there are Putney Mountain Association members here, and we would like to bring this forward to you to ask you what maybe would be our next steps for this. I realize that we probably can't get it on into an article for the town meeting coming up in March, but certainly we would want it to happen sooner than later for this. And the basic reason for this is the Putney Mountain Association has been managing that town forest for generations. They have put thousands of dollars in it, hundreds, thousands of work hours into it, and they've been doing the job. And I think we need to recognize that, so that they will be the ones that will protect it instead of the town, because the town isn't really protecting it necessarily. Something could happen in the town in the future where that property potentially could be sold, if the town so wanted it to happen, or it could be logged. I mean, the Putney Mountain Association will protect it. And that whole ridge line there is pretty well protected by the Putney Mountain Association and the Pinnacle Association from Dummerston all the way up into Athens. And this is a little hole in that protection. So we are strongly in favor of doing that. So I asked the select board and the town manager to guide us in the process of doing that very thing. Thank you.
I lost the piece of paper. Oh, here it is. I guess you've been in communication with the Vermont Land Trust?
Not with the Vermont Land Trust, no,
Okay.
but the Putney Mountain Association.
Yeah, but this says an easement would be held by VLT.
Yes.
Okay.
And perhaps.
Standard.
Right?
That's standard for all Putney Mountain.
Yeah. It's standard for all of Putney Mountain.
So it's already in VLT. It's already so it would just be an addition.
Mhm.
Okay. And I just making sure that they know that you're planning on giving them more land.
Well, I mean, we're not.
No, but I mean, like, I'm just making sure that they, they're in the conversation.
Can I just make a quick comment? I want to be clear that this town forest is on Putney Mountain
Right.
Yeah.
and not be confused with
The school.
the school forest or forest for learning.
Right. Which
That's
is owned
behind,
by 501c3
correct.
nonprofit.
Thank you for
organization.
that distinction.
Yeah, because people get confused.
Yeah.
Because they think it's all town forest and it's not.
The school forest was never town forest because it was the school forest before it was.
Yeah, but the
That's right,
town
but-
was part of the town. I mean, the
No, I know,
school
but
was
it's a
part
school
of the town.
district,
Right, the
So-
school district was part of the
separate,
town,
separate entity,
and
yeah.
it was still town property.
How many acres are there, Tom?
134 acres.
Thank you.
There's 65 on Putney and,
I thought there was like
No.
80 in Brookline.
Wait a minute,
80,
wait a minute.
85
Is it
Brookline.
80, really, is that?
no, it's
that's much?
85,
Okay.
it's, so the 49 acres of town forest in Putney and an additional 85 acres in Brookline.
For which we pay taxes to the town of Brookline. but-
Yeah,
And I can give you all that information. I can do it right now if it clarifies things. But I also want to make a comment that there is history that I had John Johnson pull for me for this meeting about different articles at different town meetings, and the select board needs to review that before any decision gets made.
Yeah, we're not actually asking for a decision on anything at this point. I think it's a little premature. And I
Right.
think Karen agrees
Yeah.
with that.
So,
But we want to figure out how, what are the steps that need to be taken to get this to happen? And we're hoping that the select board will also give its blessing to that. If nothing else unofficially.
yeah,
I don't know what, how that would work exactly.
so the value of the land in Putney is $297,400. The value of the
that's
land,
the assessed value?
that's the assessed
Okay.
value. The value of land in Brookline is $171,000.
Has
So
Brookline, sorry, has
Yeah.
Brookline, gone through a reappraisal?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, so that's, we
So
don't know what that,
The taxes on the Brookline side are $2,331.25. We don't pay taxes on the Putney side. I did talk to Jordy. He had stated if there were a conservation easement, the value would be like $29,740. And he stated unrestricted in value unchanged is $2,100. So if
On the Putney side.
on the
Putney
Putney
side,
side,
yeah.
yes, not Brookline, because he couldn't determine that. We would have to call Brookline. So the value would be like $2,100 if it were transferred over. So there would not be any,
What value would be $2,100? I got confused there.
they, on the books.
yeah, on the books.
It's an asset to the town.
Right,
So it's
and
Yes.
$2,100, that's all?
If it were transferred
29,000
is the, yes,
29,000 someone.
29,000 is the value.
740.
So what's the 2,100? I'm a little confused.
It says unrestricted in value unchanged is $2,100. So right now we're paying to Brookline $2,100,
You mean
right?
the taxes,
Yes.
gotcha.
Okay, all right.
Alright.
Okay, so
So
can,
$2,331. So
okay. Can you speak to what it means to the town to have that $29,000 value in that property? Like
The
what,
current value is more like 300,000 some odd.
okay.
Because, yeah, so
Okay.
No.
the value of the property that it's, cause it's not under an easement right now, it's like
Right.
290,000 something, right?
297,400.
Yeah,
Okay.
so
Plus
that goes
or
on,
minus.
plus the Brookline part, so that goes on our books as an asset.
Right, so just,
Yes.
and that's what I'm wondering, what does that mean to have that on our books as an asset? What would we lose by giving up that asset?
I don't know, and that would be a question that we would need to find out, because in my opinion, it's an asset because it's land value, even though it's not developed, right?
It's not developable. I mean, it's not, I mean, it's on a dirt road, it's on an unmaintained part of the road, it's steep. There's no imagination that would make that developable land in the foreseeable future.
Right.
Possibly possibly logging.
Right. Well, it has been logged already.
Yeah.
And my understanding is that wood was, used to build the town garage, but that had to been,
I think 1949.
yeah. Because I'm thinking that town garage is cement blocks right now, and I'm like,
So-
where's the wood?
So where's the
Where's the wood? But, so we would have to look into that, Peg. This is not something, but there's critical information. And I also would like to see a comprehensive recreational study done. And this piece of property could be valuable in a recreational sense. Now, I understand Putney Mountain Association does have a lot of land up there. They do a really great job, and they've been maintaining our part of the forest up there. And thank you very much for doing that. But you need to look at it. You just,
Right, so what do we need to look at? That's what I wanna know, like, what are the steps we need to take?
do you have an attorney right on your select board? You can, I think you need to look at the history, right? Don't repeat the same thing that just happened with the school forest.
Right, that's a whole different thing.
It's not different though, you need to like, that was 186 acres, you know, that is now restricted and limited to certain uses.
Yeah,
That was a community forest.
it's still a community forest.
Yeah,
I think the difference is that the proposal in front of us has the entity that is interested in receiving it has a much longer track record and is a much more reliable partner in this process. We just need to look at whether it serves the best interests of the town. But I don't think we need to have any doubt that
Right.
Putney Mountain Association will do with this land what they're doing with the rest of their land.
Well, and I look at Wilson Wetlands, you know, that committee is stewarding that land for the town. And the conservation does the same thing with some of the trails here in town. You know,
Well, Vermont Land Trust is, Vermont Land Trust is also involved then, you know, they're gonna keep that easement in perpetuity.
right,
So, I'm personally, speaking personally, I'm all for this, proposal. I understand that it's an asset on the books. I don't see it as an asset in real life. There's nothing the town can benefit from that, except for possibly logging it, which kind of goes against our town plan. So the town plan wants forest blocks, we want uninterrupted large pieces of undisturbed forest blocks. In our town, that's a perfect place to do it. There's no good reason for us to pay taxes to Brookline. And it is it's a longstanding organization. It already has they already do a lot of recreational stuff over there. I mean, they've got trails, they've got a beautiful new trail that they secured with a grant. Funding, they're well organized. And it seems to me silly to keep a piece of land like that when there's an organization that is willing to hold it. So that's just my 2 cents. I feel like, mentioned before that it's too late to put something on the warrant. It's not.
I'm not.
It's not, because we're talking about it
If you want to
now.
vote for it, we'd be
Yeah.
all in favor of that.
But I mean, I think what I would like to see is another vote from the town, to say, yes, we still want to do this, and maybe make it a little bit more specific. Because the last one, I think, was a little more vague to the select board.
I think the notes indicate that the 2020 town meeting passed an article
Carry out the
proposing that the select board carry out a due diligence review,
Right.
and that's what I think we need to do.
Yeah,
And I think Karen has already put her finger on what the other consideration is, which is, does this fit within whatever the hazy parameters of our recreational plan might be, which are sort of undefined at this point. But I see it as, right now, off the top of my head, I see it as a good collaboration. But I agree with you, we need to sit down and go over it. And maybe we could start that in our planning for the next select board meeting, pull together some numbers and see what we got.
Okay.
I mean, we can do that. I know the select board, in the past, did do some of their due diligence. And I believe the conclusion was that it was an asset to the town and they didn't wanna give it up at that time. So that was a previous select board, but,
Got a hand?
Yeah.
I'm Ann Carey, I'm a resident of Putney, and I'm a member of the Conservation Commission. And I just wanted to point out that Karen, shortly after the due diligence vote back in the day, in the 2020, went ahead and had two foresters look at the town forest and evaluate its timber value. And those studies can be provided to you. Basically, it was very much like some other pieces of land that the town owns, which is essentially, you might eventually get a profitable timber harvest, but it would take monetary investment and a great deal of work to get to that harvest. It's not just there waiting to be cut down. It's gonna take some work to make it valuable. And we'd be glad to get you those two, and I'm sure Karen has both of those studies since they went to her.
yeah.
I have none.
Can somebody clarify for me the decision-making process here? Is this something that we as a select board can do? Is this something that we have to take to the town
No.
to do?
No, we could put it on the agenda for next meeting and say that we're giving it for $1. We're allowed to
Okay, then
sell land.
I think we should proceed as a select board with whatever we need to be able to do our due diligence and make a decision about this. It seems to me like the town has given its blessing. We can review the town, in the process, we can review whatever articles have been before the town up until now. I mean, this is a corridor, this is, this is the last missing link of a very important ridge for recreation, and wildlife, and I can't imagine that we wouldn't do this unless there were some huge cost to us as a town, and I'm not seeing any big disadvantage to us as a town, so I don't know. I'm all for it, so I would like to do whatever we need to do to make sure we have all the information in front of us and we can make a decision. And maybe that's a good window between when before town meeting, we have a little lull there.
The other thing too, we have the opportunity to have special meetings this year. So August, there's an election, and then November is the big election. So we can call a special town meeting for a special vote and take our time, do the due diligence, and then if it ends up as an article for the town to vote on, then we know we've done the due diligence.
You're proposing that we not make the decision as a select board, but that we bring it back to the
No,
town.
I'm just saying, whatever decision you make, if it doesn't land on the March town meeting, then you have an opportunity throughout the year either August or November, to have a special meeting to put an article to vote on.
Okay, but we don't.
Should we want to go that way, but
Yeah, well,
I
we don't, yeah, we don't have to do, I mean, that's why I was saying we should, if we wanna gauge the public's temperature 5 years from the last time that they voted on this, we should put it on March's agenda as an article to get that go ahead, and then after that, we can say, well, we, you've spoken several times, let's do our due diligence and then make a decision with that.
what would you propose as the article for this March?
See if the town will direct the select board to do its,
Once again,
not to do due diligence, to give the land to something to the effect to give the land to the Putney Mountain Association. Something like that. Maybe more forceful.
I think you need time to like really do your due diligence and make sure the language is where you need it. I mean,
Yeah, that was my first attempt, but we have 2 more weeks to put something up together as an article.
A hand in the back.
Hi, I'm Lise Patrick, and I'm on the board for the Putney Mountain Association and also the chair for the acquisition committee on the Putney Mountain Association. And I want to thank you very much for taking this to the table and bringing this under discussion. We of course will be honored to be bestowed with the stewardship and ownership of the Putney Town Forest. And again, of course, we would do all the right things that we have done with all of our other over 1,000 acres of land that we steward and maintain, all for the benefit of the people of Putney and beyond, clearly, and also for habitat and wildlife corridors, etc. So I'm just a little confused because I thought 5 years ago this whole question came up and there was this question about due diligence, and I believe indeed there were 2 assessments done by Dan Healy and by Sam, I believe at the time, and they provided you with reports. So I'm just confused as to what you need now. What is the due diligence now that needs to be done in order to actually bring this to either the town meeting or to you to actually vote on this? That's just my question, because I heard Karen say something about a comprehensive recreational study, and I'm not quite sure what that really means. So if you can maybe address that question, that would be great. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, my short answer is that the select board that was the select board at the 2020 meeting is not the select board you're looking at right now.
Yes.
So I possibly was there. I can't remember. I don't think so.
was it 3?
2020, 2021. I was, yeah, I don't think I was on the select board then.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I wasn't. Because I would have spoken in a different way than the other ones would have. But so everyone here was not there on that vote. So we haven't seen the due diligence that was done with that board. So that's one answer.
Yeah.
And I guess that's why I'm kind of advocating to bring it back to the public, because the other thing that I've learned is that the voter demographics tend to switch every 5 years. So it's possible that the town is, all of a sudden they don't want that anymore, which would be an unfortunate outcome for a select board, to give that land and then hear pushback. Hey, you didn't give us, any way to give you feedback on this other than select board meetings. And it also provides this select board, which will also change in March, or possibly will change in March, but it gives the select board, the go-ahead to do the thing that the town wants us to do. So I feel that that's the best way to go about this. And then we can pull together the due diligence and make a decision, but until we get a feel for the town, I don't think we really wanna, I just don't think we need to do that.
well, and I think that we can, with a day to work it out, come up with a article to put, that is and my guess it would not be, this is what we're going to do. You know, we're asking the town to sell this property, or to gift this property, but probably it would be more, we encourage the select board to review what had been found to date and make a decision about what to do with, in terms of this property. I actually do not want us, and I don't know about my other select board members, but I don't think this decision should wait on a town recreation plan that is not at all developed yet, because I think the best thing we can do for the town recreation is give this to Putney Mountain Association. I think that's our best bet at being able to have access to incredible resources. So that's just where I stand. But when we do our review, I mean, other people can argue other points.
Two in the back, and another.
No, go for it. Have for it. No.
I
Wait,
was-
I'm patient.
I'm gonna say that the Conservation Commission is in charge of 115 acres of various conservation sites. It takes a lot of money and time, and we are constantly slipping behind the schedule of things to get done. We have a group here that really knows their stuff and are really on the case.
Now you have to.
I will.
I guess I have a lot more questions is, one, what changes if we wait? Is there anything that gets held up? Does something not happen? Is somebody gonna pull their offer off the table? Two, remembering how the school forest was dealt with, some of us don't ever wanna see that again. Because it really changed how the town could have access and use that school forest. Because it did get sold to the town for $1, and then it went to a private company, and now it is really, really restricted. I don't wanna see that happen again. So what happens if we wait?
We pay another $2,300 to Brookline.
Oh. I do want to say that one advantage of gifting this to the Putney Mountain Association regarding resources is that the work that they do has gotten the attention of national interests who have great resources behind them. I'm not allowed, I mean, you guys, I don't know that much about it, you must know more than me, but I do know that that's the case. So, the town doesn't have the resources to deal with that property, but Putney Mountain Association not only has their little group's resources, but they have access to much larger resources. And by putting this into their, into their holdings, that will be a positive thing to continue to attract the organizations that do have the resources that can help conserve that property even better, and then do it in a way that they've been doing it. They just rerouted that trail up there. That costs a lot of money, right? A lot of time, money. I mean, really, that's a lot of money. I'm sure that there are other places that are going to need stuff like that. Getting those resources behind them is just, it's a no. I was going to say no-brainer, but I think it's a no-brainer. I really do. I really, really do. I don't see any significant objections to this happening. I just don't. But I don't know everything. Thank you.
I'm just laughing because I have worked with the Conservation Commission on trying to make trails on some of the other lands that they have in Bear Hill. I've taken my students there, we've worked year after year. And what we've been able to carve out there with all the effort that's available to the Conservation Commission just pales in comparison. It's just, to what the incredible trails that we have on Putney Mountain, and I think I just can't. What strikes me is the ridge, the connection between the towns, and opening, continuing that, to me is of incredible value that we can't manage. We aren't managing. Somebody else.
Hand in the back.
I just wanted to, in response to that, Peg, and to add to what you said, Tom, that value of that ridge and the uniqueness of that ridge, the way that it's been over the years established, and also just its physicality, what we have here as a resource, is what has garnered that national attention. The value of that has not gone unnoticed. It's a pretty rare resource that we have in our backyard. Just emphasizing the concept.
Any other public comment on this, or from the select board? Alright,
So when can we agree to talk about? We're gonna bring some
Why don't,
article,
I'm willing to
a
either
draft.
work with you or with, Tom to come up with some language. I feel like, the school forest article probably had some language that is applicable.
We don't wanna talk about the school forest.
I-
We don't wanna put these
We
in the
can,
same
we
category.
can substitute the name. No, I'm just saying that
We are not gonna have the same problem.
it's similar, but it's a similar article. All I'm saying is it's a similar article, not a similar situation.
Okay, so
I can work
you'll,
with- I'll work with,
Okay.
I'll work with somebody. Do you want me to work with you? All right.
Thank you.
I'll come back at the next meeting is hopefully the last, wait, the 20,
21st.
I'm going out of town for 10 days very soon, though.
The rest of us will be around.
somebody.
I can talk to somebody. So our next meeting is the 21st,
Yes,
and we have to have,
the warning has to be approved that night,
unless we do it on the 28th,
right,
because it has to be done by the 1st, which is a Sunday, which is a weird day for
right.
the warning, but, okay. All right,
Okay. Alright, moving on.
Thanks.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Select board new business. Harry Smith, final audit overview for the select board.
Alright, so we have Heather Hunter, she was with R.H.R. Smith. And she is gonna give us an overview, and we have a PowerPoint presentation. Which I wanna thank you very much for that visual, that was very helpful.
Evening, everybody. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. It's always great when technology works, especially on a rainy, icy, stormy day that today was. So let me get this up and running, and I assume I have authorization to share my screen.
Oh, yeah, do I have to do that?
You should have.
I already have it.
You should have it.
You should have it, Heather. Hey,
All right. Technology is great. So thank you for having me tonight. I'm happy to say that we've completed the FY25 audit. I'll give you a brief overview, not only of general fund, but we'll also talk about the water and sewer funds as well. So moving on, the first piece talks about roles and responsibilities. So the first slide that we're going to talk about is what your responsibilities are an audit from the audit standpoint. And that is your management decisions include establishing an internal control environment and internal control procedures, knowing how to use your software to its fullest extent, complying with applicable laws, regulations, grants, keeping your books in accordance with GASB and GAAP. GASB is the Generally Accepted Accounting Standards Board, and GAAP is Generally Accepted Accounting Principles. Using appropriate policies throughout, communicating any estimates and the rationale behind those estimates to you, providing us with financial informations, including reconciliations, the trial balance, and any supporting documentation that we need on a timely basis. And then lastly is understanding your financial statements. We prepare your financial reports, but we send you a draft and you review those drafts and you accept them, because ultimately those financial reports belong to you as your organization and management. Our responsibilities are kind of pretty specific as required by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants. It requires us to understand the control environment that you put into place, look for things that may result in material misstatements of your financial statements. However, we do not render an opinion about your control environment. And again, we may offer and prepare and propose adjustments to remedy any material misstatements that we find. As I mentioned, we prepare your financial statements for both the general fund and your business type funds and all the other aggregate non-major funds. We evaluate your adherence to generally accepted accounting principles and GASB. We look at your assumptions. I'm happy to say we didn't have any disagreements with management that will impact the financial statements, but we look at identifying and resolving those. And then lastly, we make best practice management letter recommendations regarding your control environment. The biggest piece that you hire us to do is to prepare an opinion for you. An opinion is that audit letter that you're looking for that says, in all material respects, all your financial statements are free from material errors and incorrectly stated. It's known as a clean opinion. It's the highest opinion you can get, and congratulations to you that you are for the FY25 audit, you did receive that unqualified or unmodified opinion.
Yay.
Yay.
Yes, that's always a good time for, patting each other on the back and high fives. So yes. Just looking at some comparative information and to touch on a few points, I have referenced page numbers and statement numbers if you do have the full audit report in front of you. But so you can follow along with that, or you can follow along with the presentation, either one. So looking at your 3-year trend of your balance sheet for general fund, you will see cash climbed quite a bit. And you're looking at your total assets climbing by 12%, or $740,000, with the largest share of that being in cash. That increase in cash makes up 88% of that overall growth. So it puts you in a very strong liquidity position, and liquidity is that ability to pay your bills. So to equate it to industry standards, there's a financial ratio out there known as a quick ratio, and the target is 1. Looking at your cash and your liabilities, you're at a 1.2, which is great. What that means, for every dollar of liabilities, you have $1.20 in cash to pay for those. So it tends to lead contractors, employees, creditors, whoever's evaluating or using your financial statements to feel comfortable that you have the cash available to meet obligations when they're due. Your liabilities increased by about 10.5%, or $486,008. And the bulk of that falls in your due to other funds. That represents $472,000 of that increase, followed by minor increases in accrued payroll and expenses totaling about $34,000. You did have a reduction in accounts payable that kind of, smooths some of those increases out a little bit. Your total fund balance increased by 13.8%, or just shy of $179,000. The town of Putney also has 2 other major funds. One of those is the highway fund that you also see on that statement C. And you also have the consolidated library fund. The highway fund has restricted fund balance totaling $549,000, and that was an increase of a little over $250,000, or about 97%. You pretty much doubled your fund balance in that particular fund. The library fund balance rose by about $18,800 to $412,613, and your overall investments make up about 94% of the overall total fund balance. So it's a good way to keep that money working for you from an investment standpoint, especially in this higher interest rate environment. This just gives you kind of another graphical look at your fund balance. In your case, your municipality only has 2 categories of fund balance, 2 of the 4. And so you have a non-spendable piece, which is exactly what the name or the label indicates. That's not spendable. You've already spent the cash. We're waiting for those goods and services to be performed in 2026. So that totals about just shy of $95,000. It represents your prepaid expenditures. Your unassigned fund balance gives you your most financial flexibility. Your unassigned fund balance totaled $641,757, and it makes up about 87% of your total. And kind of a good litmus test that we look at is looking at unassigned balance as a percentage of your expenditures and transfers out. And in your case, your coverage is 38.2%. So that's a very strong percentage. And it's slightly less than 20 weeks of operations. So if you got no more revenue in, you could last for about 20 weeks of your normal operating. So again, very strong numbers overall. This is just the 3-year trend of fund balance, because fund balance is such an important number for municipalities. We like to talk about it in a couple different ways. So your non-spendable has climbed a little bit, but it's hovered right around that same sweet spot in that area. But you see the significant growth in your unassigned fund balance with that upward trajectory. Looking at revenues, and I've switched now to Statement E, page 19, if you're following along in the audit report. And we'll talk about 3-year trends on your revenue side of the house. Just by looking at this graph, you don't need to know a lot about numbers to see that property taxes is your primary leader in revenues for your municipality, which is not unusual, but there's a significantly strong dependency on that. And property tax revenues makes up just shy of 92% of all your revenues total. Your other revenues fell by a combined total of $51,547. And again, hitting on those other 2 major funds, highway fund revenues totaled $1,380,834. You had a slight decrease there of about 11.6%, resulting from a decline in intergovernmental revenue of about $283,359. The library fund revenue rose slightly by just over $4,300, or 5.7%, to about $80,832. Now, looking at revenues compared to your budget, you had a budget of a little over $1.8 million. You came in at $1,057,63. So you actually had a surplus of $31,625, or about 1.7%. Maybe a small percentage, but not small money. And, you'd rather be over by that amount than under that amount. So again, that's a good place to be. Your intergovernmental and miscellaneous revenue and transfers in all three of those categories outpaced estimates, and they made up the shortfall that you had in taxes, which is your delinquent property taxes that usually come in the prior year, and charges for service revenues. If you look on Schedule 2, which is kind of in the back of the bus behind the notes to the financial statements on page 58, you will also see the highway fund. It's budget to actual. And the highway fund had actual revenues of $1.7 million, which exceeded the estimates by just shy of $50,000 or 3%. Now, looking at the expenditure side of the house, kind of going through similar graphs that we just covered with revenues. This one shows your 3-year trend for all of your operating or cost centers, your departments within your organization. Expenditures totaled $1,376,966. It increased about $66,430 or 5%, with general government making up the largest portion of that increase. Highway fund expenditures totaled $935,700, and that represent about a $322,000 drop from FY24, with decreases in all items or cost centers on the highway fund. And the library fund rose slightly by $10,000 to $286,577. And I do touch on debt service because that tends to be another thing that people like to focus on. So you'll see debt service is in that last category, or that last group of bars on the chart there. General government, and I'm only speaking general fund, general governmental debt service amounted to $216,667, and you had principal payments paying off about 16% of your outstanding balance. If you're interested in more detail on debt service, you will see that in note 6. That falls on page 41. Now, looking at the budget to actual for general fund from the expenditure side of the house, you'll see the similar categories that we saw before. And that's on Schedule 1, page 57. The total expenditures, including transfers, totaled $1,678,118, and that produced a savings of $147,320 from your projections. So between the revenue surplus and the expenditure surplus, you had an overall combined budgetary surplus of $178,945. Looking at that same schedule for the highway fund, you had actual expenditures of a little over $1.1 million, and that provided a budgetary savings on the highway fund of $220,193. So between the revenue surplus on highway and the expenditure surplus, the highway fund also experienced an overall surplus of $271,231.
That can explain.
So jumping over to the business type funds, you have water and sewer, as you know. These slides, for comparative purposes, combine water and sewer together. I just wanted to highlight that. But you will see my commentary kind of breaks it out between the two funds, so you have information presented both ways. And I'm looking at Statement G that falls on page 21 within your financial statements. And overall, you're looking, when you take into consideration both utilities, you're looking at, minor fluctuations between the 3 years. The water fund had assets of about $2.2 million. Of that, capital assets make up like $1.9 million of that amount. So capital assets are running about 84.4% of total water assets, which is not unusual with utility funds. Clearly there's a heavy investment in those infrastructure and meters and so forth that support both water and sewer. The water fund liabilities totaled $973,000. And bonds payable counts about 95.8%. So clearly the bulk of that is how you're financing that infrastructure, and is, again, not surprising when you look at other utilities. From the sewer standpoint, sewer has total assets of about $1.37 million. Capital assets make up a 1.15 or 84%, similar numbers that you saw in water. So, you can see the consistency of the capital assets making up such a large portion of that. Your sewer fund liabilities total $413,000. And again, bonds payable are right up there, making, up about 94 or 93% of that total. So current ratios are very similar to the quick ratios we talked about on general fund. They tend to show liquidity or your ability to pay. With the current ratios, you're taking into consideration all your current assets versus all your current liabilities. So for the water and sewer fund, water is running about 8.39%. Sewer is 7.73. Those are still very strong numbers when you're looking at current ratio of about 2. And, from an industry standpoint, you're essentially wanting $2 of assets for every dollar of liabilities. And you can see your utility numbers, clearly outpace that. Your revenues, it should be no surprise to you. The bulk of your revenues here, like taxes were for general fund, are going to make up your charges for service, your user fees. So respectively, water's charges for service totaled $185,000. Sewer ran about $280,000, and the combined total rose about 6.5%. And you can see where your various cost centers are impacting over a 3-year trend. Just looking at them, you don't see a lot of fluctuation until you get into that maintenance and sludge disposal. And even then, the bar charts show the variances, but you're still not talking, truly significant numbers when you're looking at some of your line items. So operating expenses totaled $126,000 and non-operating expenses $45,000 for the water fund. So your total combined water expenses, both operating and non-operating, rose $16,300 or 10.5%. Net position for the utilities is very similar to general fund's fund balance. So net position climbed $16,248 to $1.24 million, with the unrestricted portion, that's the portion that provides that financial flexibility, that totaled $346,796, or about 27.9% of the total. Similar numbers looking at the sewer fund, you had operating and non-operating expenses respectively of $295,996, and then the non-operating totaled about $22,700. The combined total increased by $25,000 or 8.5%. So, larger numbers, smaller percentage when you're looking at sewer compared to water. Net position for sewer, however, dropped by $34,714 to $956,381. Your unrestricted fund net position here totaled 215,716, or about 22.6% of the total. I'm also happy to say this is another, round of applause to you. Like you had the unmodified audit opinion, that there were no suggested best practice improvements for the town of Putney. And those are referred to management letter comments. So congratulations to you and your team. We don't see this very often. Usually there's at least one comment out there. So again, very, very well run. Congratulations to the team again. Additionally, we do test compliance with laws and regulations, contracts, and grants. You will see that at the very back of your financial statements on page 82 and 83. Those produce no findings as well.
Yay.
And that pretty much concludes my presentation. I would be happy to address any questions anybody may have.
I just want to thank you again, Heather, for presenting this PowerPoint. And I also want to thank Kim Monroe, because she's the treasurer, and between her and I, always two sets of eyes, and she's very detailed with numbers, and I'm just grateful that we have her in town hall. So.
Yeah. Thank you to both of you.
Any
You're
public
welcome.
comment?
Any questions, comments?
Bravo.
No, thank you for the PowerPoint. It made it much easier to understand than the many pages of the audit.
All right, if there are no questions, I hope you have a good evening and a smooth transition to the rest of the meeting.
Thank you.
And Happy New Year.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.
All right, moving on. Putney Foodshelf, proposed town meeting article.
I don't share the language that I bring you. Thank you. Thank you.
I do know, and I saw it today. I have it in my email.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
You're up.
Okay. So, hello everyone. Never done this before, so bear with me. So I'm here on behalf of the Putney Foodshelf. I'm the executive director of the Putney Foodshelf, and I've been with the Foodshelf for 9 years. The last 6 years, we've seen significant growth in the need for the food shelf. Our numbers have basically quadrupled, and the lay of the land, really on the federal government level, this year is really putting pressure on food pantries across the country, and Putney Foodshelf as well. And when the budget was written this year, it was clear to me that I need to be making some very proactive steps to make it possible for the food shelf to continue to meet the needs of our community. And so I came to Karen, and we are part of the Community Services Appropriations Group A currently. We got around $7,800 last year from that. And I do make requests to surrounding towns for funds. So this year, and those towns include Brattleboro, Westminster, this year for the first time Dummerston. And we've been receiving funds from Brattleboro for many years, Westminster for 2 years, I believe, Nancy.
Yes.
And Dummerston, we're bringing that to town meeting this year. So just to say, this is in the context of seeking funds from all surrounding towns where we primarily serve people, and trying to sort of collectively create enough of an impact that it can be really supportive of our budget and our bottom line. So the language that sort of landed on out of process, a long process of conversation, is what I just handed out, and I guess I'll read it. So, shall the town of Putney raise and appropriate funds for the Putney Foodshelf equal to 1% of the total general fund budget for a period of 5 years, beginning July 1st, 2026, in support of food security provided to Putney residents. If this article passes, Putney Foodshelf shall be removed from the Community Services Appropriations Group A. So, I don't know, Karen, if you want to chime in, please feel free in terms of how we got to this point of decision, but it seems like the best way forward in order to find a way for Putney Foodshelf to make a request for more funding. It seems to make the most sense to sort of request it in this way, which sort of parallels the way that, not exactly, but similarly relates to the way that the community service appropriations is funded. So it's,
Right. So when Hannah first came to me, and I know we've gone round and round with our community service appropriation policy, and VLCT has a template now, and I didn't bother reading it, but Hannah brings up a good point that there are at least 2 agencies in Putney that are service driven and not at the nonprofit level, okay? Although you are a nonprofit, right?
we are a nonprofit.
Yeah. So, but the thing is, they provide a service, right? Which is a little bit different than some of our agencies in Group A. So, at some point, we are going to have a conversation about how to do this fairly and equitably and inclusively, right? Times are hard right now. We discussed what it costs to operate the food shelf, even with volunteers and donations. It's a staggering number. And I believe this approach here may be the first step. And to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if you see others coming forward. So this board we really, in the next session, it should be a priority if we are gonna serve people that can't serve themselves in certain ways.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I've said this in, I think, meeting, possibly town meeting before, but the services that the food shelf provide in particular are services that towns used to be mandated to provide back in the day. And to me, I consider that what they do as a governmental service that we have foisted off onto nonprofits. So I feel very strongly that that they should be an appropriation in our, basically a line item in our general fund. Is appropriation is the right term, rather than competing for a dwindling pot in the community services appropriations policy, because we are really just, we're funding something that we should be funding anyway.
Hannah, could you say how many families are served by the food shelf in a year?
Yes. Well, I can't give an unduplicated number because it's anonymous with people, we don't track individuals. But I can tell you that we had 3,250 visits from Putney residents in fiscal year 2025, so over a 12-month period. So 3,250 visits from Putney residents, and that is a duplicated number. I can't give you anything other than that. That if you count the number of people in the households, this is also a duplicated number. 7,282 people were serviced, and there were 139 first-time visits in FY25. From Putney specifically, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I also think it's important, and Hannah did state it, that not only is she seeking funding from Putney, but she's working with surrounding communities and trying to get, more funding and potentially match what she's trying, so she's building this funding allocation source to fund their programs.
I appreciate you saying that, and also to add on to that, really Putney sets the bar for what I can ask from other towns, because,
Yeah, if we don't support you at a certain level, right, sure.
Yeah. So it really helps in a rippling out way.
Karen, I don't have the total budget number in front of me. Could you tell me what this translates into in a dollar figure?
Approximately $20,000. So our general fund proposed budget for FY27 is $2 million, just a little over $2 million.
So to clarify, the community service appropriations policy is the operating budget, so that's the highway fund and the general fund, and we're just talking about the general fund.
We're just talking about the general fund, yes.
Okay.
Because highway is restricted,
Yeah.
so. And you're right, the community service is combined, highway and general.
Yeah.
But it's at 2.5%, but it's allocated evenly amongst the groups, 70-30.
So if we were to put this on the warning.
What happens to the $7,800 that?
Well, so I was gonna say, so if we put this on the warning and it passes, then the remaining Group A gets a larger portion of the
Group A would
2.5
get that particular allocation spread out
goes
amongst
whatever
the
the
four.
Right.
Right.
So we're
allocation will
really
change.
adding not
Yes.
just the difference between what you were getting and what you would get, but we're adding the 20,000.
This would be in addition to the because the other number won't go down.
Right.
It'll just get reapportioned.
Reportion.
Yeah.
And I looked at that, so if it happens, that Group A would, from like 7,800, which they got this year, it's going to be more like close to 10,000 each.
Can you remind us who's in Group A?
Oh, boy.
Putney Community Center,
Right,
Yeah.
Foodshelf Community
Hall.
Center,
Putney Cares
Putney Cares,
and Next
next
Stage.
stage.
Yep. So, it is a win-win for both.
And the allocations in Group A have been going down, as mentioned, and so it will help just sort of bring that back up.
Right.
Because we keep adding people to Group A.
Well, that and, whatever happens in the budget,
Yeah.
is triggered, it triggers that number too. If we have more project, the other thing in the community services appropriation, that number is based on a net number. So it can be the two budgets, right? But less all your capital debt, all your projects, and any appropriations. So it's net amount with the appropriation, whereas this is just a straight out.
It's a straight percentage.
Yeah,
That's easier
Yes.
for people to understand too.
Right, right.
A couple hands, or you want to go first? Go
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I see no reason why we shouldn't take this to the voters and let the voters consider this. This is totally, I think the need is great, and we're not voting whether we agree with it or not. We're just voting
Right.
whether we think it should go to the voters or
Right.
not. And I
Yeah,
don't
we're-
think
yeah.
there's any question that.
So can I just make a quick comment, because I know we have other hands up, but, so again, the select board can decide to put this article on the warning. Otherwise,
They have to go.
Putney Foodshelf will have to petition
Right.
and get
125 was the recommended amount.
125 names on
next
their
week.
petition by the 15th of January.
Emily?
Hello, I was just wondering of total users of the food shelf, what percentage is Putney? I know it's grown a lot, and I'm not sure if the Putney percentage has grown or if it's other towns.
Percentage.
Numbers of individuals have grown. Putney's percentage is about 30%. When you look at open hours, food shelf open hours, but I also want to point out that Food for Kids is Putney specific. Snacks at the pool is Putney specific. Home deliveries is to only Putney, Westminster, and Dummerston. So Putney gets those benefits. When you look at percentages, that can sort of go like this a little bit depending on what's going on in different towns, right? But numbers have increased. Putney numbers have increased. All numbers have increased.
Thank you.
I just wanted to, when we were listing the organizations that are on Group A, we left out the East Putney Community Center, Pierce's Hall, so I wanna
I
make sure.
said Pierce's Hall.
Yeah.
You did say
Yeah,
Pierce's
yeah,
Hall.
I
Oh,
did
good.
that.
Mention that.
Good, I'm glad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I remembered that one.
Thank you.
Heather?
My question, I guess, is how do we fund this? Only by raising taxes, or as taxes are set, or are we taxing the people in poverty into more poverty just to feed them?
So, it would be a voted article if it was approved, then it would be added to the budget and the tax rate would be adjusted based on any increases. So,
Yes.
So-
The answer is yes.
so 1 penny equates to about $38,000, okay? So $20,000 wouldn't be a whole penny, but
It's half a penny.
yeah,
And then, yeah, like
yeah,
0.48 or something,
Right.
yeah.
but, yeah, yeah.
I just, that is a massive concern, right? Because you have a lot of people who are using the food shelf that fall between the lines between receiving food stamps and making enough money to eat, or people who are getting food stamps and just don't have enough and this is their supplement. I don't know that people who are barely making their taxes now are gonna be in a way to afford any kind of increase.
So we can debate this
Okay.
in a different way. And when we get into the budgets, because the biggest concern for me and Putney as finance director and town manager is creating revenue streams, which we have not been able to do. So operating costs are gonna continue to go up. And, we're gonna have special requests. And if we can't start offsetting some of our operating and special requests by other forms of revenue, people are always gonna be financially burdened.
And I don't disagree, like just listening to the audit, we have zero diversity in our income.
Right. But we have money, so it's like,
I'm happy to speak to this also for a moment
Sure.
because I've cared about this as well, right? So it feels really important to me that I'm not requesting funds to support people and simultaneously burdening people. That does not feel right. So I did spend time with Jordy to understand what that means. What does $20,000 mean? And I can tell you that one visit to the food pantry offsets what one would pay in taxes. So more than offsets it.
Okay.
It's roughly $5 per $100,000 value.
Mhm.
So if you have a $200,000 value house, that would be $10.
Right.
$315. And if you come to the food shelf, you can get more than that, and we're shopping to the value. Right? So I think it's important that we're trying for those who feel pinched in all kinds of ways, including tax burden. This is a resource that will offset that feeling, that problem, right? Yeah.
Okay.
And it felt very important to me also that I wasn't asking for a number that was going to create more of a significant problem, right? That's the right balance.
Right, that's the value of the service that is being provided.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's never an argument of value, it's just an argument of cost.
Nobody.
So $5.
Make or break somebody.
What were the numbers you had that the other towns contribute?
So this past year, we got 7,800 from Putney and 7,500 from Brattleboro, 5,000 from Westminster, and we're requesting 3,000 from Dummerston this coming year. And that is relative to the percentages served, right? So that's how we calibrate that difference.
So the 30%.
30, yeah.
Of Putney residents.
30% of Putney residents. Yeah.
Nancy?
What you received from Brattleboro last year, but what did you request for this year?
Okay, I requested and received $7,500 last year. I have requested $20,000 this year, and we will see if that comes through. So, on par with what I'm requesting here.
Matching funds, I like it. It's tough, it's difficult today.
Yeah.
And thank you for bringing this to the select board's attention.
Thank you for being receptive.
I propose that we, as a select board, put it on.
Yeah. I'm
So that
wondering
you've
if
got,
You have a hand up?
I was just gonna let these guys.
Yeah. Go ahead, sorry.
I just propose that we don't make them go and collect signatures.
I agree as well. I don't know that we need to, I was gonna just say that we have the draft warning already on the down below, so I don't know that we need to formally vote to put this on, but if it makes people feel better, we could.
There's still time to add stuff, right? So.
Yeah.
We don't need to vote. I
And you
wouldn't
can
think.
add it.
But they need reassurance that we're not gonna take it off, because if they're gonna get signatures, they need to start like
Right.
yesterday.
Maybe, yeah.
I move that we add this article to the warning.
Alright, second.
Ruby?
I'm happy to, I know you have a motion. I don't want to interrupt your process, but yeah, well, so my name's Ruby McAdoo, and I'm the coordinator of Putney Community Cares, which is one of the other community service organizations. It's another one in that grouping A that provides direct services. So I think that both Hannah and I have talked about this, and have we talk extensively about we periodically come together and talk about the services we provide, and so I just wanted to acknowledge that Hannah has done a very good job at reaching out to other organizations in Group A so that this isn't a surprise to anyone. And I think I can't speak for my board, but I do know that the board of Putney Community Cares has always kind of acknowledged and realized that the Putney Foodshelf, the services they provide are critically important, and that we as an organization want to do everything in our power to support them, because we see we have clients that overlap, and we see the immense resource that they provide. So from that perspective, I think that what I'm hearing is an intense need and an anticipation of an increase in that need. So I would hope that as this is really considering what to say to voters at town meeting, I would hope that that this is the request of the food shelf, and I would hope it could be put forward as such. So that's all. I mean, just kind of throwing my my support as another kind of administrator of a service agency in support of Hannah and the food shelf.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ruby.
Call the question.
What's that?
Call the question. Let's vote.
Yeah.
Okay. You have a motion, or
There was a motion, I
Okay.
seconded
get a
it.
second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Alright, so I will add this to the
Add it to
warrant.
it, yeah.
So you're all set.
Thank you all.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Hannah.
Thanks, Hannah.
Thank you, Nancy.
Alright, next up, Regional Emergency Management Commission appointment.
Yeah, so, we're back to this. I explained to you folks that our local emergency management plan is not compliant because we don't have 2 regional emergency management people on the commission, which is through Wyndham Regional Commission. So I am recommending to the board that Brian Harlow be the emergency services appointee, and Leonard Howard III, who is currently our EMD, be considered as the EMD, Regional Emergency Management Commission representative for the town of Putney.
Do they know that you've nominated them?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, they do, because I waited and waited, and I'm like, and actually, when I read the description, which I can't find right now, it does state it should be the fire chief, and it has to be the emergency management director. So, I mean, by default, it's those 2 people.
All right, so Len Howard would be the EMD,
Correct.
and Brian Harlow is the REMC.
REMC, Emergency Services Appointee.
I make a motion to appoint Brian Harlow as the REMC Emergency Services Appointee, and Leonard Howard the third as the EMD REMC representative.
Second.
Any public comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, folks.
We aim to please.
All right, finally, put
Sometimes.
that to rest
Alright,
until April, when we gotta redo it.
town report status update.
What? Right. So just to let you know, our town report is almost finished.
Yay.
So all the reports are in. There's a couple more pieces we're waiting on. The ballot's gonna be the last in the town warning, but other than that, it's pretty much finished.
Yes.
So, and I wanna thank Kim Monroe, cause she's like perfected this process, even with everything else that has happened in the last 2 months. She's done a lot of work. Rachel has helped out a lot too. We're still looking for pictures for the town report. But other than that, I think we're gonna have, we may even get like the big prize this year from
Which
DLCT.
Well, we have to submit it. Did we submit ours?
I did.
What's
You
the
did?
big prize?
At at town fair, we can get like best town report.
Yes.
But you have to submit it, and then you have to vote for it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all about pictures and graphs,
Yes.
is what we found out, so we're gonna have a different, it's gonna look nice.
If it shows up, I'll vote for it.
Okay, but I just wanted to give you an update. So as soon as we get the town warning, it'll go to the printer. We should have town reports back for our public informational meeting. So,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's all I have on that.
Perfect. Moving on, select board old business. Assessor request for proposal, discussion, and decision.
So we did receive 2 proposals. The request for proposal was out for 30 days. Jordy and I reviewed them. We chose one. The one we did not choose was strictly utilities.
Oh, who was it?
San Souci.
Oh, that's odd.
So, so in front of you, you have something that looks familiar. New England Municipal Consultants. The contract is from January 1st, 2026 till December 31st, 2026 in the amount of $36,000. That contract amount has been added to the lister's budget for 2027. There is money in the budget currently to contract with this firm if the board so chooses to do. Jordy Heller is online if you want to hear from him. We are looking for 1 lister on the ballot. We're supposed to have 3. You agreed to keep the listers and potentially bring on this assessor, so.
So we bring on the assessor, and the listers are primarily hearing grievance. Is that the idea? Jordy?
Yeah, I'm here. The assessor would take care of anything that is adjusting value. So subdivisions and property transfers that are subdivisions or contiguous parcels. They would take care of site visits and associated data collection and data entry with that. The listers would continue to do grievance, but we would also do regular property transfers and upkeep of the grand list in the ways that aren't affecting value.
All right, we do homesteads, and would you?
Yeah, homesteads, I'm not clear if we would do some of them and if they would do the ones that are 30% rental. I'm not quite sure how that works. They will do current use.
They'll do current use? That's awesome.
Yeah. And but we would do address changes and non-value change transfers.
Okay.
And respond to emails and so forth and so on.
Okay. So we need to agree to accept this firm. That's what we're doing now. Okay.
Yeah, approve the contract and,
All right. I make a motion to approve I have one other question actually though. This is just for 1 year, so are we gonna have to rebid this next year?
I can answer that. He says he does a 1-year contract the first time to make sure that we like them and they like us.
Okay, that's fair.
And then after a year they do 3-year contracts.
Okay.
alright.
All right, so then I will make a motion to approve the contract for New England Municipal Consultants for the period of January 1st, 2026 to December 31st, 2026 in the amount of $36,000.
Second.
Any discussion, public comment?
Can you friendly amendment and have the select board chair sign and
And
execute?
have the select board chair sign it. Friendly amendment.
No comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Jordy.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Doug appreciates it even though he's not here.
Good.
Alright. Up next, final FY 2027 operating budget for review, discussion, and approval.
Can we take a quick break?
Yeah, I need to
Bio break.
file.
Take a 5 minute, 10 minute?
Yeah.
Thank you.
5
Yes.
You don't get shoved in a tiny little corner.
No. This is terrible. I do not like this at all.
Why is it, you lost like a little standalone desk, is that what the?
I lost my Zoom ability.
So,
So we all set?
yeah, we're
Okay,
ready.
so wait there and.
Recording in progress.
Okay. Go back. Karen, you're up.
I'm up again. All right. General fund. In your packet, you have colored this week, right?
We do have color. Yay.
Yeah. So this is Kim's brilliant work again. So you have your colored graphs, you have the general fund draft budget summary that you like with a percentage increase, decrease. So basically that little shortcut is all your main departments for the general fund. So, long story short, the proposed FY 27 general fund budget, $2,021,976, an increase of $125,305, equating to 6.6%. We added a full-time administrative assistant, which we're gonna share with the fire department. A 2-person benefits plan for that person. You have the assessor in the budget, you have a zoning administrator with an office budget still in there. And I think if I can find my notes, folks, I can maybe briefly tell you what else. The biggest, what I saw that, again, it's in the revenue. We lost $38,000 in revenue. It decreased. And it decreased because of the bank interest rate that we were getting is now at a meager 1.32%.
What was it?
Back in July of 23, it was 2.75, and it's been going down gradually. So August 24th, from July 23rd through August 2024, it was 2.75% each month. Then it's gradually been going down to 2.4, 2.25, and 2%. So it stayed at 2% from December 2024 through May of 2025. No, excuse me, August of 2025. So almost a whole year, but October 25th, it dropped to 1.52. So that little extra revenue that we've been getting over the last 2 years is going away quickly.
Okay.
The other thing that was reduced was the current use. So we're not getting as much current use.
From the state?
From the state of Vermont, yeah. So if you look at your comparative budget report out of the NEMRIC, on the very first page, you can see state Vermont current use. So in 2025, fiscal year 2025, we received $145,328. And as of 26, we've only received $120,863. And we're not gonna see any more.
Did stuff come out of current
Yes.
use? That's why.
Yes.
So theoretically, it came out of current use, but the taxes are being paid. I mean, it would have gone into
Right.
property
So
taxes.
I would think, I don't think the grand list goes up because it comes out of current use. You can correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. Yeah,
Okay.
the balance doesn't change, but the
property taxes are now being paid fully by the
owner.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's not, well, it's not a loss in revenue really, but it looks like one on paper.
Yes, on paper,
Yeah.
it is a loss.
Okay.
So again, when you look at this budget, again, on page 3, you'll see the total budget, right, revenue, $2,021,975.86. So an increase, right, 125,305.11. And that loss of revenue is added to what we have to actually raise.
Right.
So what we have to actually raise is $167,144.11 from taxation.
Okay.
So it's like, yeah. You have to have a balanced budget. And the other thing I should mention while we're here is in the budget on page 3 again, 3/4 of the way down, you'll see surplus.
Where are we here?
Page 3.
Page 3.
Surplus
The
from
comparative
prior.
budget report?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it says surplus from prior fund balance, and the code is 100. You got it, Peg?
Got
Okay.
it. Yeah. thanks.
So from the 25 fund balance in the general fund, I'm recommending that the select board utilize $117,508 to offset what needs to be raised. And we're still gonna be in a good position for the 90 days because we have that 438,000. There's an article to move another 50,000 into that fund. So I'm trying to lessen the burden, or the impact, I should say. Try to level off the next 2 years, but there's no guarantee. We definitely gotta find more revenue. And that may require going to the state of Vermont and trying to figure out how to do that.
Blackmail, extortion, all of those things.
Yeah. The thing is, if you ask for more money from the state, the taxpayers are still burdened by that. So I haven't figured out a good way to create the revenue.
You haven't solved the problem.
I haven't solved the problem!
Just make more money.
Well, we won't go there.
No. Cool.
I'm just trying to stress the challenge of trying to offset operating costs without having that other revenue stream or streams. So, I can say this budget here for the general fund, I've massaged it as much as I can. I'm comfortable with what I have here for the board and for the voters. I mean, we have to be able to operate with staff, the appropriate staff. That was a lesson I learned. You cannot be understaffed, and no one person should have to do a half dozen different titles. I want to spread that around with other people. So, yeah, I don't know if you folks have any questions.
I think we've gone over it enough.
I mean, yeah, you've seen it since October. It's changed, you know, 4 times. But, so the estimated tax rate just for the general fund is 0.0436 cents.
0.043 what? 36?
Yeah, 0.0436. So,
What was
so
last year's?
Yeah, I don't have last year's in front of me, sorry. So this is the estimated actual tax rate for general fund is 0.4124. So it's gone up 4 cents from last year. This is just the general fund, okay? It's only half of the equation.
Sorry, the 0.0436, that's the total tax rate?
No, 0.0436 is the increase.
Is the increase.
From last year.
Gotcha, and then what's the, and so just general fund?
Just the general fund, 0.4124.
Okay.
Alright?
Yep.
So keep that in mind. Employee benefits increased as well. The fire department, their budget decreased by 26.1% because most of that came out of having a full-time fire chief or leadership management position. We've added the part-time administrative position. We also are taking $75,000 from that actual operating budget and putting it into the capital reserve for the fire department that was just created. So that is in your budget too, okay? So what you're gonna adopt is that as well. Then it will go to the voters for approval. It reflects no new borrowing. And like I said, the $117,508 fund balance surplus to offset taxes. And the decrease in revenue was $39,875. So this is our biggest budget. Covers a lot. Also in there is the library appropriation. Which legally has to be in our budget, but the county tax on page 15, I don't have a solid number. We probably won't see that till the end of January.
They're having their meeting soon, aren't they?
Right, aren't they having a meeting sometime soon?
Yeah, soon. I don't think I put in my calendar.
Yeah. VLCT passive gave us a number, we kind of guessed. I think we're gonna be pretty close on that one. And all the other numbers are solid. So that is an overview of your general fund. I'm not willing to make any more changes, so.
Do you want us to approve it tonight?
I would like you to adopt it so we can get it into the town report.
Okay, so I make a motion to adopt the FY 27 general fund budget of 2,021,976.
Yes. Oh, 907, well.
975.86. Oh.
Yeah, you better have the exact number.
975.86?
Yes.
All right. That's my motion.
Second.
Any public comment? All in favor? Aye.
Thank you. Highway budget is next, with your graphs. These graphs, by the way, are gonna end up in the town report in color.
That'll make it. That'll.
I know. I'm like, we're gonna get
the best town report.
Kim's gonna get a surprise. The next page is your draft budget summary. This budget went down. I wanna make sure that I read the right number. Oh, of course I don't have the percentage. Alright, so this budget went down $137,403.54. And the reason for that is I took out the sixth person that we've been carrying for the last 4 years with a family benefits package. And I believe I reduced a few other line items, but the majority of this budget decrease is that extra person. And what this will do, the increase in the general fund is offset by this tax rate going down. And that, do I have that number? Of course I don't. No, darn it. Yeah, I ran out of time today, folks. Oh, maybe it's 0.2748.
That's just decrease?
That's gonna be the tax rate estimated for highway.
Oh, okay.
Yep, 0.2748. So it's a decrease of 0.0304, and the general fund went up 4 cents, so.
So it's a wash.
Well, almost, yeah.
That's good.
Almost, so maybe 1 cent it will go up,
That's
maybe. But, yeah, my numbers, my reporting is not finished yet. So I'll have a better idea the next meeting. But,
On the tax rate?
yeah. But I am confident with these budgets, the way they are.
Alright, well, then I make a motion to adopt the FY 27 highway budget in the amount of $1,053,667.46.
Where are you getting that number?
Yeah, I'm getting that from, oh, I'm sorry, wrong number.
Yeah.
1,200,000?
Yeah.
$1,201,570.46.
517.46.
What she said.
Let me read the number. $1,201,517.46.
Second.
Thank you.
Any public comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Alright. Alright. We have the library, right? So the library is the library. I mean, this is already in the general fund, so you don't vote on this anyway, the Board of Trustees.
Well, we vote on the appropriation,
You do, and it's already in the general fund,
which we already did, so.
Right.
so. Let's see. I'm trying to find it in our budget. Sorry, folks, for flipping around like this. Library appropriation is $264,572. It's an increase of $15,450. So.
So we don't have to vote on that.
No. No, and their numbers, what I need to give them are, they're close, they're very close. It's VLCT passive. So that one's good. Water department. Whoops, let's do sewer first. Now sewer is, paid by the users, but I always have the select board review and approve. So the sewer department, total operating budget for FY27 will be $408,938, an increase of $20,501.
And no pretty colored things for this.
No.
It's a sewer. You don't want to see it.
Yeah.
It would be a waste.
But, I mean, I can ask him. It wouldn't take much to do this. It's a matter of having room in the town report.
I was teasing.
Well, I took that seriously. Peg, some people are visual.
Yeah.
Although Heather Hunter thought our sewer and water weren't too bad, we did have that loss of 34,000. We are gonna have to visit rate increases. So, and I think that will keep us out of the negative.
Yeah, I mean, it's unfair for the rest of the people who aren't on the system if we don't increase user fees to reflect actual costs.
Right. And I have to, so I reached out to Wyndham Regional Commission actually is gonna start helping us, and they have funding for tech support, and they can hire an engineer to work with us to, one, do a study for finding a second well. So that is the first priority. But also.
They have a dowser?
Stick. But, so we're gonna get that in motion, which I'm very excited about. But they will also, work with us to do rates, so. I think 2026 is gonna be the year that we are really gonna, define some progress here.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you wanna make a motion on that one.
I messed up the numbers last time, so. Somebody
So
else should do
sewer
it.
department, page 2 of 2.
Page 2 of 3,
0893.
operating expenses. What's the 153 number?
Are you on sewer?
Yes. Oh, total expenditures.
Yes, so
Wait,
FY
408?
27, 408.
Okay.
There you go, Eileen. Good
All right,
job.
then I make a motion to adopt the FY 27 sewer budget of $408,938.
Second.
Public comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Last one, water department. Fiscal year 2027, $191,290, increase of $11,390. I don't have the percentage either. Or do I? No, I don't. That's in my other folder. I want to say they're both about 6%. Nothing really, other than the contractor fees, And I think we might be okay with the water rates and the fees, but I'm gonna look at those at the same time. Start preparing for like potential major overhauls and upgrades.
All right, well, I'll make a motion, it's the 191 number, right? I'll make a motion to adopt the FY 27 water budget of $191,290.
Second.
Any public comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Alright,
One more item.
yep.
Oh, that's me too?
That's you too, draft
Wow.
town meeting warning. I think Meg's waiting for us.
Alright, so this is a draft. It's changed from when I sent you your packet. And I missed the training today with VLCT on town meeting articles. I could not get into the meeting.
Oh,
They wanted me to create a free Zoom account. And it was asking like for birth year, name,
That's
everything.
weird.
I'm like, I'm not doing that.
huh.
So
I didn't try because I had other meetings.
I was
going
very
on, but
frustrated about that because I had some questions.
They probably recorded it.
So this draft looks a little different, and Meg is online too, so I want to get her opinion and her consensus here. So Kim brought to my attention that there are certain laws, state statute, that certain items have to be in your warning every year, which I was not aware of that. So Article 1, we have listed the open seats, right? That can be voted on by Australian ballot. And the money articles are in the front, and our legal counsel said, no, those go in the front. So I'm like, okay. And they also said, sort your articles if they're like in the same. If they're the same, then put them in, one behind the other, so you're not jumping all around. So it's an organized, more concise flow at town meeting. So we have the highway expenditures for Article 3. Article 4 is asking the voters to purchase a new dump truck, not to exceed $200,000. So we are due for another truck. Article 5 is to authorize select board to purchase a 1-ton pickup. The 1-ton we have is already, we kept it a year more than we should have and ran it. We could replace the body, but I talked with Lenny Howard and we agreed we're just gonna purchase a whole new truck and not put money into the other one, and hopefully get a decent trade for it at auction. Article 6 is your money article for the general fund. It also states we're using surplus funds. So it's transparent, it's in the budget. Article 7 is every year by state statute. And that is establishing the 4 installments for property tax payments. Article 8 and 9 are exemption, property tax exemptions, one for Yellow Barn for the music pods at Greenwood School. The other one is for Putney Gun Club.
Why are those two different VSA sections?
I'm not sure. There's gotta be a reason, maybe because one's at the school, so it's an educational versus a like nonprofit.
Okay.
Those are the ones, and we can check these out, and
Yeah.
like Fletcher, you're good at this kind of stuff. Can you just confirm?
Yeah.
Because I don't like saying that this has always been done like this, but these ones have been carried forward.
I thought we were waiting for the, like, we're not required to put this on
No.
as an article.
We were gonna have the gun club come and
Yeah,
tell us that
did
they
they
were
have
actually,
Yeah, I want to hear their rationale before we.
Well,
I wanna know whether they're still in business.
Yeah.
they wrote a report for the town report,
Okay.
so, I mean, we can have them at town meeting.
Maybe we could at least see their report. I mean, 'cause I think we had some concerns that
Yeah.
are they still, what are they doing?
Are they still
That
doing?
we,
Yeah.
the whole reason for giving them this status was because they were doing educational gun safety stuff.
Right, because they should be coming to the town and requesting it.
For a gun club, they've been pretty quiet.
Well, I think anyone asking for property tax exemption should be coming in front of the board anyway.
Well, what's the report that they've submitted to the town report? Can you just circulate that
Sure.
to us? So.
Yeah. And I guess, are we going through all these first and then talking about them? Cause I have a couple questions on.
Sure, go ahead.
Well, so, anyway, I think we should take the educational piece out.
Which educational piece?
Oh, right there,
So
for the
exempting
gun
the
club.
gun club from municipal and education, I think we should just take educational out. People can always add it back in, but we get dinged on that because it's a voted exemption. So we have to make up the educational taxes that they don't pay. Other exemptions, other statutory exemptions, the state holds as harmless, but not unvoted ones. So I think we should take that out, make them pay their educational taxes. Like I said, they can add them back, somebody can add it back in at town meeting, but
If they notice.
somebody knows,
Well, that's also assuming we leave it in to begin with.
right?
Alright, and then I'll see if I can get them in for the next meeting. Because if it's a matter of just taking it off.
Well, I mean, unfortunately, yeah, it'd be good to have them both maybe petition the next time they come around. We could also reduce the period from 5 to 3 or 2 or 1.
Right. Do you wanna do one?
Yeah, let's do 1. For both of them.
Okay. Article 10. So this is the remainder of the 117,000. when this $55,038.24 gets moved over, that will give us 90 days in the restricted fund if there's ever an emergency. And your policy is written 90 days. So, and we said for emergencies, but most likely if we don't collect taxes to pay operating costs,
Right.
that is what it's gonna be used for.
Or they don't approve the budget.
Or they don't approve the budget, correct?
Yeah.
So, Article 11, 12, 13, we're at town meeting last year. So, although 13 has changed, so, actually, you know something?
Yeah, your number.
So, yeah, 13 and 14 have to be reversed because you have to create the reserve fund before you can put any money into it. So, I'm gonna shift those two.
Yeah, also the number is wrong too.
Yeah, the number.
If 14, 14 does not pass, then we can't transact any
Oh, right.
town business.
Yep. So I will correct those two. Oh, you know why? Because I kept moving them and then I had to change the numbers.
So, yeah, well, when you and I were talking about this, you said, well, how, you have to put something into it, or how will you fund it? If,
Right,
If,
right.
if 13 doesn't pass. Can we have, I mean, if they, I mean, presumably people will read ahead. And so if they don't want the sales tax, then they may not create the fund. But if they create the fund and don't pass the sales tax, then it's gonna be a zero fund.
Right. Which is okay, because there might be other ways to get revenue to put into that.
Yeah, but.
Especially if the community's involved.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me think that one over a little bit
I mean,
more. I mean, it's a good concept.
Just so the rest of the board is aware, this was something. So one of the concerns from the community that we've heard from town meeting is that this is a sales tax. It's levied on the businesses. It isn't really, but that it's going to make it's going to make it harder to do business in Putney. And there's also been a lot of community talk about creating some kind of revolving fund or something like that for the purposes of housing infrastructure and community improvement. We haven't had that fund before, or capacity to fund such a thing. So my idea was, well, if we take the sales tax, the 1% lot, and use that to fund an economic improvement fund, hopefully it's a circular funding source, right? So we get more economy, we put more in the fund. That was my idea. Don't know if it'll fly,
Seems like a reasonable idea.
But just from hearing people talk, I think maybe that's maybe it'll work. Maybe it'll be a good way to jumpstart things.
Different note, where do you plan to put the Foodshelf article? Does that need to be before Article 6?
Before Article 6 of the.
I would probably put that either 8 and just bump everybody down.
Well, you need, if you're putting money in, you gotta put it before the final tally.
I don't,
Once
no.
you've locked in the general fund, you add another expense.
No, but if it's a voted, right, if it's voted at $20,000, right, even if that general fund is already passed, so that voted fund will be in the general fund as a voted article, and then what it will, well, hang on.
Yeah, that's the problem, is Meg's still here.
Yeah.
Once you've locked in that article and moved to the general fund article and move to the next article, you can't go back and amend that number. It's done for that meeting. So if you want to have the food shelf article get money, it's got to be in before the general fund gets locked.
All right, and then we do an amendment based on that number.
Yeah.
Well, it would move the number. That's where you got to be fast on your feet. You got to amend that
Yeah, you amend the number.
general fund article to
We
reflect the
didn't do that
new.
last year though, with,
Well, we ran into it last year.
Last year we ran, yeah.
We couldn't accept
right.
I
an
can't remember
article.
what that was. I don't remember what article that was, but we explained at the outset that the
Right.
order, and then
All right,
we
so
got
then
into that dilemma, and I don't remember which one it was.
So
it would be like if it be Article 6, I guess.
Well, put
Well,
the food shelf as Article, as
Six.
Article 5 and,
yeah,
or Article 6 and
yeah.
then renumber everything going
So
down.
food shall.
Also, for just general information purposes, the difference between the two statutes in the present Article 8 and Article 9 is that Article 8, Section 3840 is for fraternal organizations, and we'll ignore the sexist implications of that. And Article 9, 3832 is public, pious, and charitable, but for health and recreation organizations.
Okay, well, neither of those
They're
fit.
well, no, they don't in a sense because
I mean, the
it's
3840, 3832 would be more appropriate, but go ahead, I'm sorry.
yeah. I mean, I don't know whether those are the right things for those organizations, but that's the difference between the statutory sections.
Well, Larry has not vetted this, but he's vetted them in the past, and so I will.
Well, can you call his attention to the
Sure.
statutes, because those don't seem right. To me, they should be the same statute, first of all, and second, I don't remember voted exemptions being in the pious charitable statute,
Yeah.
but I don't have it in front of me, so. It's in that chapter. It's the right chapter.
So to the board, and maybe Meg, you have an answer for this question. In the VLCT training, and Kim brought it to my attention, John sat through it, but I asked him the question, and he didn't have an answer, but it stated that non-binding articles should not show up on a town meeting warning.
Why not?
You're muted, Meg.
Well, a non-binding generally would be something that wasn't on the warrant.
It's like informational, right?
Yeah.
You're trying to get the tone and the temperature of the room
Yeah.
on a particular item. But, you know, language is everything. And like Tom Hinkley brought up, you had a non-binding article in 2020 and, you know, so
Look where it got you.
well, they hold you to it, right? So it's almost like, you know, you're putting it out there that you're gonna do this. So,
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the body is the town meeting is the legislative body of the town, the ultimate legislative body of the town, and I feel like they should have some kind of say, or at least direct their select board to do, you know, their bidding. Not hold us to it, but give us some direction, and that's the best place to do it.
Right.
Because we don't get a lot of that. I mean, we get some of it here, but, you know, on a day-to-day basis, we don't. So it's really the best place to put that kind of thing out there. And if we don't put it on the warning, then people won't know that we want their direction. So
I'd be interested in hearing from Meg.
yeah.
Well, first of all, I'm glad you're starting to talk about Article 14 and 13, and I realize all that is going to change. So that's just to say, I'm still holding from last year. We got into all sorts of parliamentary maneuvers, and they had to do with the sales tax. And I think at a certain point, Fletcher had to overrule the moderator. Thank God he did. Because, do you remember this, people? Like the motion to substitute on some of these?
Yeah. I think that was more to do with this certain community member than the actual article, but yeah.
But I'm assuming just because it was on what was on the warrant last year, the warning last year, that this may come up again. Maybe I'm wrong. But I got the email about the motion to substitute and I went and reviewed all my notes today, and it was those sales tax and then the creation of a reserve fund. And so I'm just, and I didn't hear from Howard until the very end of February. And then the other motion that he never finally did, I'm so glad I was probably gonna have a heart attack, was a motion to call that the entire meeting would turn into a committee, vote of the committee.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess I'm just mentioning this because, and it is going to be my last town meeting as moderator, that and Benji Cragen is running. So, and I'm happy about that. Totally support that. But I guess I'm looking for a little support from the select board. And if you have to overrule me again, that's fine. But it did get pretty complicated last year. So I just wanted to put that out there that I'm thinking about it ahead of time. We'll be strategizing with Benji, who will be the parliamentarian this year. But I'm still trying to go through my notes, and I haven't seen the minutes from last time, but maybe when the town report comes out, there'll be some indication there. But those were some pretty high-powered parliamentary moves we had to go through, I thought.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think it was the community member in question, not necessarily the articles that were presenting here that presented that issue. So I mean, these are revenue generating articles, and
Right.
we talked throughout the whole meeting just now about how we need to generate revenue for the town. So that's why they're back on.
Oh, and I don't want to be misunderstood. I'm totally behind them.
Yeah.
I'm just wanting, like, if people remember things or whatever, any thoughts on it? Because and I don't mind getting overruled if that's necessary, but it was pretty interesting. So maybe that's just one piece.
And
What?
you don't want your last year to be very interesting?
Yeah, well, that's fine. That's good. If I get the motion to turn it to the committee of the whole, just make sure there's a defibrillator in the room and we'll be all right. About the non-binding article, I kind of like what you all have come up with because I think it's important, as Eileen was saying, for voters to understand. This is going to be more like advice and consent than determination. At least I hope I'm understanding this correctly. And for voters to know that they're being asked that, and that it's giving the select board discretion, but it's also urging the select board to go in a certain direction.
Mm-hmm.
Not the final judgment. And all the other articles, the voters are going to have the final judgment. And everybody's going to work around it. So, I mean, I think that's a good idea. Now, how will we distinguish, or maybe you don't feel it's necessary, but non-binding articles, the two that are here in this draft that I just got from Karen, versus those, if there are going to be any more citizen petitions who come up, and which are generally understood as non-binding.
There's
think
gonna
there's
be,
one,
I
right?
heard there's gonna potentially be one more
Yeah.
citizen Oh, and so two.
Oh, two, well, unless we put it on there as a, right?
Yeah.
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 A petitioned article is a binding article.
Right.
Right.
It just gets on the warning a different way.
Well, let's.
What about if it doesn't have to do with town business?
Yeah.
It has to do with something more national or international.
Well, I mean,
Like
I think we
medical
can,
insurance.
if we think it's not germane to town business, we can decline to include it on the warning, but we do so at our peril. If the number of voters who have supported that petition want to see it there,
Yeah.
you know, it depends on how far out of bounds the article seems. But
Yeah.
if a petition, it's not mandatory on us to put a petitioned article onto the warning. But my inclination, if that number of voters have indicated the desire to see it there, is have at it.
Yeah.
So will you give those citizen petitions that come in article numbers?
Yeah, it's a regular article. If it comes in by petition and we allow it, it's just another article on the warning.
Okay.
Yeah, I've seen it been done differently at different times, so.
Well, that was then and this is now.
Okay.
Well, and I'm forgetting whether people can bring things that are not on the,
Yeah, they can.
at the end,
Yeah,
right?
at
Can
the
they
end,
just
yeah.
bring whatever
Yeah,
they
Article 15, other business.
Yeah,
Yeah, they can verbally.
Then they
put out.
can add the,
Yeah,
they can make whatever motion they want.
yeah.
Okay.
And it doesn't
It's still
doesn't
not
have
ready.
any binding effect on
8
anybody.
hours.
Right.
And are those going to be binding? Because sometimes we've gotten them at the very end and they're more like an interpretive dance. I remember Peg at one point at the end of a very long meeting, this is maybe 2 years ago, she said, "What did we just vote on?"
But so those are non-binding by definition, right?
Yeah.
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 They're really there to try the patience of the moderator.
Yeah. Yeah, it's my last year. Who knows what I'm going to do towards the end? I start getting tired. Oh,
My only words of wisdom are, you never know how the town meeting's going to go sideways on you.
Bring multiple hats, Peg. Meg, sorry.
wear multiple hats. Oh, if the Putney Mountain Association article does get put on, I'm chair of the Putney Mountain Association, so I'm going to ask one of you all to fill in if that is one of the articles.
Okay.
Because I can't be a moderator on that one. Or I don't feel comfortable being a moderator on that one.
It's probably a good time to remind the board and the public that I will not be at town meeting, at least not in the morning, because I have to be in the town of Londonderry at the very same time. So last year they had a 2-hour meeting, which was amazing. So it's possible that they don't normally do that, but last year they did. So it's possible that I'll show up sometime in the afternoon after lunch.
Oh, I forgot you weren't going to be there.
I will not be there. I am sorry. It's my favorite.
Will you be, I'm wondering about the information session, just because
I will be there, yeah. I will be there.
Yeah, so, and could we also at the information session maybe get together a little bit ahead of time and then assign different articles to different people so that I know who to turn to sort of move it along, and then who's going to speak on it?
Yep.
Great.
You can do that.
Good idea.
And last year you gave us some good notes, if I remember right, didn't you? Didn't you give us? Does that sound familiar?
I don't even remember having that meeting.
That was a long meeting.
And then it came back to me and I'm like, what meeting are they talking about? I do remember it though. I don't remember the notes, but I'll look back.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's all I have.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
All right. So are we taking any off at this point?
Taking off? I don't think we're taking anything off.
No.
Okay. Are we gonna be prepared to stand behind these? As best we can. right? Cause all we need to do is explain them and then the
Yeah, I'm not gonna
voters
be
can
here.
decide. I know, and you're the one that put them on there.
That's the best way to do it. Put them on and run.
All right, I will leave them on. I will, make sure this information is right, it's numbered right. Add Putney Foodshelf.
I'll get you the language for the Putney Mountain Association as soon as I have it.
Okay. And then the 15th, I gotta wait. I can't give this to legal counsel yet till I have all the
Till
articles.
the deadline for petitions.
Yeah, so I gotta wait till after the 15th.
Okay, that's a good deadline for me then.
Okay.
All right.
All right. A lot of
Alright.
work went into tonight.
Any public comment?
Yeah.
I do have a public
Yes.
comment.
Yes.
First of all, I should just say that on non-binding articles and on articles even that are on the warning, that I've always thought that they should only pertain to the business of the town. And even though I support the sentiment of a lot of the things that come up, I don't believe they belong on the town meeting warning. But
you are going to.
no, I believe this one is very pertinent to the town of Putney. This isn't talking about Venezuela or any place else, or elections in Ukraine. So I'm going to request that we put an article on that says, shall the voters of the town of Putney vote to approve the following resolution? Whereas Vermont's elections are overseen by our capable town clerks and the chief election officer / secretary of state, our elections are safe, secure, and carried out with integrity. Whereas the current federal administration has made attempts to put restrictions on our elections and has demanded that Vermont turn over its complete voter checklist to the federal government. And whereas the U.S. Constitution gives states the authority to conduct elections and gives the power to change election laws only to Congress, Article 1, Section 4 of the U.S. Constitution, whereas Vermont law specifically prohibits sharing voter data with the federal government, 17 VSA Section 2154, whereas the federal government has demanded that Secretary of State Sarah Copeland Hanses, who is also the state's chief election officer, turn over the state's complete voter checklist, including the protected information, whereas the non-public portion of the state voter checklist contains private information on voters, whereas Secretary of State has refused, citing Vermont law and the U.S. Constitution, whereas the federal government is choosing to sue the state of Vermont and the Secretary of State, and whereas Governor Phil Scott has given his support to the Secretary of State's decision to withhold the list, therefore it be resolved that, and this would change from what you have to say, that the voters of the 2026 Putney Town Meeting add their support to the Secretary of State in refusing to turn over the voter checklists, thus following Vermont law and protecting the privacy of our residents. And I'm asking that you put that on. I don't have a petition. You have the ability to put that on if you choose to, and I think this is very pertinent to our voters in Putney and to your very positions. So I'm asking you to put that on.
I move that we add Jeanette's non-binding resolution to the warning.
Second.
Any public comment?
I have one comment though. I know you want the select board to adopt that as well.
Yes, at your next meeting.
It occurs to me that an even better board to adopt that would be the Board of Civil Authority, because they have direct control over our voter checklist. But they don't meet very regularly, but I think that you should talk to John.
I will. I would still
about that. I totally agree with that. I just thought that would be even more direct, because they are in charge of that. And I have, just so you know, I have sent, the information to, the Clerks Association, the Vermont Clerks Association, and they are considering it, as is the town of Brattleboro.
Alright, all in favor?
Aye. Thank you.
And then this would be on the agenda for next time, right?
The
Next select board meeting.
Yeah, the resolution.
Yeah.
Yeah, without the changes that I made for the,
Yeah.
yeah. Thank you.
Alright, we need an executive session, anyone?
I don't,
Okay,
I need dinner.
Yeah.
next meeting is January 21st. And I hear motion to adjourn,
So moved.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.